fantastic. Look at that.
Yeah, the lighting's great. Makes me
really
look good. Shines off my bald head. So now we're live, right? I've never done this before.
And he's never done this before. So you have to introduce yourself.
I'm Tim Bateman with TimBatemanRealty.com.
And I'm Kristen Levanway.
And this isn't like comedy. You got to look at yourself. I hate my mouth. Jeez, I look like.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, you don't have to look
I
inherited
inherited
it.
I inherited it from my father. So.
Oh, well, there you go. It should
What
make you feel
do?
happy then. I can remember my dad every time I look at my mouth. So anyways, we thought this would be fun because we're both real estate agents and...
I'll look at you. There you go. That's better. Rather than looking at me, I'll look at you.
Yeah, look behind you so you can read what's on that screen.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that we thought this would be fun.
Yeah.
Because we both know a lot about real estate.
Yeah.
And we like to talk about it. So there's a couple people actually watching. That's great.
Good. This is great.
Yeah. So hey, Drew.
Hi, Drew. So we decided today that we're going to, as real estate agents, we're going to talk about rentals.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think one of the most interesting things about rentals is all the horror stories you read about online, which as a landlord I have never ever come across.
Never?
No,
You've never had any horror stories?
No, I've been renting since 1994. 1995. I bought the property in 94 that I rented. I started renting it in 1995. How you doing?
Chris Taggart.
Hi.
Oh, this is a good time to do this. Look at all these people.
Yeah, this is great. And I honestly can say I've never had any problems. I mean,
now that you've said that, though, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know I'm going to jinx myself.
You've totally jinxed yourself.
Yeah.
You better knock on this table right now.
Knock on wood right here. That's the best one for me.
Yeah.
But I think, but by the same token, I think you have to be prepared for stuff like that. You have, especially in Arizona. I think, we're talking. Chris and I are talking about. We want to do this. We'd like to get some investors who will buy some investment properties with us. Yep. But I think the thing is to be fair to the investors, to tell them that you got to be prepared for stuff. That I have my rentals checked twice a year. The AC checked.
That's a good idea.
I have warranties on my properties. Of course, and I have a kitty because I know some things are going to go wrong. A couple of years ago, I had an AC go out in the middle of summer.
Right.
So I think if you're prepared.
Chris Taggart says you're lucky that you haven't had any horror stories, but like we said, those days are probably over now.
But look, but you can turn horror stories into great stories. Like I saw a thing on Facebook, and a lot of people may have seen it, where this guy had left thousands of beer cans in the apartment that he rented.
Empty beer cans?
Yeah, empty beer cans. He had just drank them and thrown them on the floor.
Oh.
To a point where they were like 4 to 6 feet high all through the apartment. I mean, there were thousands and thousands of them, and people were like going on there going, oh, that's horrible, oh, that's this, oh, that's terrible. You know what I said? Collect them.
Right.
You can hand them in, you can make money.
Sure.
This guy has given you a second source of income.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
always
like
look on the
deposit.
bright side.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all a mindset. It's a mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way of looking at it. Well, I mean, you have to go into it knowing that it's like a lot of things. It's not like on TV. There's a real life side to this. You've got a property to maintain.
Right.
And you've got people. When you throw people into the mix, it always makes things interesting.
Yeah.
So.
But I think also what gives you good karma is if you're good to your tenants.
That's true.
I've got people stayed a long time with me because I always fix things when they come up. I make sure, like I had an air conditioning guy come out and he said, you got a part that's going out. He said, but it's under warranty through 2019. I said, well, get a new one. I don't want it going out this summer on my tenant, and people are grateful for that. She's like, oh, thanks, Tim. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So I think that helps also. You're good to people.
Hey, Gary Herkimer. I don't know. Do you know any of these people?
I don't know any of these people. These are all friends of yours,
They're
Kristen.
going to be friends of yours now. That's great, though. But yeah, I think I've heard that too. That if you have a nicely maintained property and you treat your tenants well, you'll have good tenants, you'll have less problems.
Right.
And you can charge a little more rent. People will pay a little extra for a well-maintained property.
Well, and I think also talking about rents and the amount of money you can get, that's the other thing I like about the Phoenix market. Like I say, I've owned rentals since 95. Not a lot. I don't think I'm this huge, big conglomerate. I'm not. I just have a couple, but you have your ups and downs. You know, there's times when I couldn't get a lot of money for them, but I was able to cover my payment at the time when I was paying it off. You know, that particular one. But going forward, I don't see a lot of ups and downs in the Phoenix rental market. I think people are going to continue to move here.
Yes.
I think we've got a country across the border from us called California, where 36 million people live.
Yeah, they're flooding over here.
Yeah, and their GDP is the 4th highest in the world, but I think we've got that ready-made market, and a lot of them are going to come and obviously rent for a year or two.
Yeah, they're happy to rent here. This is an article that I could not find on my iPad.
Amongst your 54,000 emails that you've never opened. So Laurie and everyone else who's watching, if you haven't heard back on your email from Kristen, it's buried somewhere.
There's a couple there. But it was talking about the rental market, and I believe it was San Francisco, but there's a couple of areas that are the same. And it talked about this woman who was paying $1,200 a month to rent one bedroom, a shared bathroom, and some space in the vegetable drawer of the refrigerator. $1,200 for that.
Well, the other thing also with San Francisco, I read an article the other day, they say 9.8% of the people who live there actually have the income to afford to buy a property.
Yeah, 9.8%.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's the other thing about Phoenix. You can move here, you can rent.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready,
hi, Lori.
You know, it's more affordable. So you have that affordability to be able to purchase, and the rent's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. So if you have a decent income, you're able to save up your down payment.
Right.
And closing costs and so forth. So when you're ready to go, you can move into something affordable in what I feel is a great city to live.
Yeah, my son is buying a house.
Right.
So we've just started shopping. He's 20. He can't even drink alcohol, but soon he will be able to.
And he listens to his mommy.
He'll need to. Yes. So I kept telling him, you should invest in real estate. I tell that to all my kids. And the youngest one, I guess he heard it long enough that he finally took it to heart. So him and his friend are going in together to buy a place, and they're going to buy a 3-bedroom so they could rent out 1 bedroom.
Yep.
It's a great strategy. I have heard of people starting off that way, and they get the house paid off, right? And then they just keep buying houses.
Yeah.
And then by the time they're like 45, they don't have to work anymore.
Yeah, no, I play poker about once a month with some folks, and there's a girl who plays poker. She's a pharmacist. And that's what she did, moved to Phoenix. She's bought a house a year for like 12 years. And she's killing it. Yeah. She's killing it. She's not a client of mine. I just play poker against her. She's a very good poker player. She's a very good poker player, by the way. She's a great bluffer. Yeah, you got to watch her. She's kind of sneaky. But I understand with your son. I'll tell you a funny story. Well, a story. When I was 19, I bought my first real estate. I bought land when I was living in Australia. And my mother was the one who influenced me, because I'd watched my mother buy and sell land and properties from when we were younger, you know. But I remember I came home on a Thursday from work, and my mother said to me, "What are you doing Saturday?" I said, "I'm going for a surf." She goes, "Okay, when you finish going for a surf, come back, meet me at the real estate agent." I said, "Why?" She said, "We're going to go buy you some land." She goes, "You're making good money, you're going to waste it."
Oh, good for her.
So I went and I bought the land, I paid it off, and I doubled my money within a couple of years and travelled on it. So,
nice.
See, you're doing the right thing by your child.
Oh, yeah. It's a great way to go. I mean, I know that people have some concerns about investing in real estate because of the crash. It's a little PTSD thing.
Sure.
Understandable, but you know, here's the thing. You've got to look at the facts. You got to look at actual data and information, not stuff that's on the news. Like, I'm not going to get into a fake news thing, but it's not even the news. It's like Facebook news, you know?
Right.
It's like people just talking without knowing what they're talking about. And you hear this stuff, and it's rumors, and people can sell it really well. Oh, this crash is coming.
Yeah.
I've heard that every single year since I've been in real estate, and it happened one time. Right. So, I mean, it's, you know, I guess sometimes they're right, but if you look at the information right now, there's nothing that would make you think there's going to be a crash. Right. Everything indicates property values going up, a shortage of inventory. How is there going to be a crash when there's not enough houses to go around, when people are paying, you know, a pretty penny just to have a chance to buy a house?
And I think you're right also, the fact about all the news that's out there. I think now there's way too much news. I find I'm following a particular stock that a friend told me about, and for every good story, there's a bad story.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You don't really know who to believe anymore. I think guys are telling good stories to push the price up so they can short sell it. Yeah. And I think there's other people telling bad stories about it to push the price down so they can sell it in hopes it goes back up. Yeah. And that's the other reason I think real estate's a better investment. I mean, the stock market is so manipulated now by computers and pushers and different stuff on the internet. It's a minefield out there as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. You could just wake up one day and it's crashing. I mean, I've seen the real estate crash way more times or the stock market crash way more than real estate.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
And you have no control. You have no idea what's going to happen. It's just something starts, some little trickly thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just implodes. And then you're just lost, thousands and thousands of dollars. And,
I know.
Jump off a building or whatever. I mean that actually happens.
I didn't jump off a building, but
it doesn't really. I mean,
I see those losses today. I'm like, wow. Anyway, that's.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to say, Kristen was talking about before we came on air, and you said, what else are we going to talk about? Well, here's the thing I want to talk about. If people are listening and you're Arizona sports fans, things are turning around for Arizona sports.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to talk about sports.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things.
Okay.
I just want to say this because today the Suns actually got the first pick in the draft.
What? Does that mean they're their worst team?
Yes. Well, they had the worst record. They had the most chance.
Person, but I think I understand.
That for years we've been jinxed. I mean, for years we've had the chance. They had the most balls in the lottery, the NBA lottery, and we've never got the first pick. We got it. And there's
I
no doubt.
haven't watched basketball since Charles Barkley played.
Well, that's 1993. I remember when we got whacked in that game by John Paxson in Game 6. I was in bed for 3 days.
Oh yeah, that was
after
a
losing
heartbreaker.
that in 6 games. Horrible.
That was a heartbreaker.
But anyway,
I haven't watched this then.
The Suns got the first pick. There's no doubt in my mind that we are going to take DeAndre Ayton. We're going to have a great big man for the next 10 to 15 years, and we are going to win championships. Now, the other thing on top of that, there's lots of all sorts of things going on.
Tiger, she's a super big sports fan.
Well, not only that, I really honestly feel that Josh Rosen dropped to us at number 10. We were the 15th pick in the NFL.
I did not know
we were able to trade up to number 10 and get Josh Rosen, who a lot of prognosticators who know a lot more about sports than I do, they're saying he's a franchise quarterback.
He's
Cardinals
a football player?
Yeah. Now I'm going all over here. To our 4 different sports teams. So I hope he's that because we've been, the Cardinals have been in the Valley since '88. I followed them since then.
Yeah.
We've never had a franchise quarterback. I mean, we've had, Carson Palmer, Kurt Warner. We had Jake the Snake.
We've had some adorable quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, I don't look on it that way. I look at productivity.
Ones,
Thank you, though, for that. Thank you for that part. Thank you for that. The contribution on adorable quarterbacks.
I mean, Kurt Warner had a nice story, a nice backstory.
And I mean, he took us to a Super Bowl. But I mean, this kid, we could have him for the next 10 to 15 years, and we've never had that. So we've got that. We've got Josh Rosen. We're the first pick of the Suns. We've got the Diamondbacks are in first place. They're in a bit of a slump right now.
Oh wow!
But they got off this. They won or tied their first 11 series, which is a history. That's MLB. Pardon me, history. And we've got a young Coyotes team that really had a great finish to the season. That looks like they could be a great team next year. So I'm really super stoked about what's happening in Arizona
all of these sports.
I just follow the local teams.
That's impressive. Now,
some more than others.
The Diamondbacks, I'm still pissed because they changed to red. To me, that was like such a cop out. They had that nice purple outfit.
Teal, the teal,
the teal, the desert colors.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, let's be red like everybody else. That was it for me.
Oh, it's just money.
In fact, I just found my little Luis Gonzalez bobblehead in purple. I was like, yeah, I remember the good old days.
2001, I remember it well. Little blue over the middle to win the World Series.
Yeah, that was great. Those were the days.
Jumped into my roommate's arms.
Maybe. So maybe what you're saying is there might be another turnaround. They might actually come back and have some appeal and change back to purple uniform.
We live in hope. Here's the thing too, you know what might happen? I don't think the Suns are going to be hugely improved next year. I think they're going to have a decent record. But I think they may be in the lottery again and we might get the number 1 pick again next year.
Oh.
And then we would really,
that'd be good. 2 years in a row of being at the bottom, and then it's a nice rebuilding strategy.
Yeah.
All right.
We've got some young players. We've got some pieces now, so we'll see.
Well, that's good. Well, yeah, I'm glad you filled me in. What else is there? Baseball, basketball. I only know soccer.
Oh, well.
I only watch the soccer, which isn't real big here yet.
Well, of course. I mean, your men's team keeps missing out on the World Cup. I mean, you can't expect people to follow them when you can't even get to the... Even Australia got to the World Cup.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad, when they don't even get in the game.
You know what their problem is?
They don't even get in.
You know what their problem is? The USA team, their chance. Their chants suck. I believe that we will win. That's such a
That's a
wimpy
good
chant.
point.
No, it's not. It's a
No,
terrible
I
chant.
think it's a good point that you're making, because that's really part of it. It's a participation sport.
Yeah,
it really
like
is.
I used to live in London. I mean, I'd watch soccer over there in the 80s. I mean, the scoreboard there showed you the score and the body count.
Yeah.
You know, and then they'd have a great chant like, "Give it up for Sydney. He's only got one kidney.
Yeah.
He's the king of this city." You know, because he got in knife fights because he was really
that's
down for
real
his team.
soccer. Yeah, it's too watered down here. You're right.
I mean, look at your chant. I believe that we will win. We will kick you in the shin. Do it with a grin. I mean, it's a horrible chant.
It is.
It's such a wussy chant. You got to
That's
get a
like
better
for
chant.
like little kids or something.
Yeah, and then maybe the US team will get better with a better
so
chant.
my son played on FC Arizona. They do not have those chants. They have some better chants. I think you might like some of their chants a little bit better.
Oh, well, maybe. I'll have to go and have a look.
I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head, but there's one about being a ref. Well, this was a little bit tame. You're blind, you're deaf, you always wanted to be a ref or something like that. But I mean, it's in that direction, right?
Yeah.
It's in that direction.
It's getting there.
And then, of course, when there's a bad call or something like that, there's some passion from the crowd to say, "Hey, you really made a bad call there, ref."
Right.
And they don't say it that way. They use a lot more expletives, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They get their point across.
Absolutely. So should we go back to rentals?
Rentals, yeah. So I am going to be starting to purchase investment properties. So
Right.
I am listening intently to what you're saying. I've started doing some analysis. I know that you got to do the numbers. I mean, you got to look at your cash flow, and you got to do numbers that make sense, and you don't ever want to be bleeding money, because you can't get ahead that way. What are your thoughts on financing versus paying cash? I've had clients ask me about this. I think you just got to do the numbers and see, but what are your thoughts?
Well, it all depends on your position with cash, how much you're willing to give up, and what sort of position you're putting yourself in outside of it.
Yeah.
But for me, if you've got the cash,
Pay cash.
pay cash.
So let's just say you had $100,000. What would be better, to buy one small dinky property for cash, or 3 larger properties?
I think it all. Again, I think that depends on your age as well. I think if you're your son's age, I'd buy 3.
Yeah.
Because you have time to wait, and you know you got a long work career in front of you. So by the time you're 50, if he's 20, he can pay him off over the 30 years.
That's true.
And then when he's 50 and doesn't want to work anymore, or whatever he decides to do, he has these properties that he owns. Now, if you're a little bit older and you're wondering, am I going to put this money in a CD? What am I going to do with this cash? You can't get any money out. You know, you can't get. I think right now the CDs, best they're paying is about 2.1.
Yeah, that's
depending on
bad.
how much you want it, but 100,000's about that.
Yeah.
Then I would pay cash and buy one and get that cash flow coming in more
and then
immediately.
start building up to buy the next one.
Yeah, and you have a better return on your money as well. So I think it just depends where you are in life, what sort of situation you're in. Definitely if you're younger like your son, I would divide it and buy 3. But if I was getting a bit older and I'm like, what am I going to do to, you got your 401k, you got this, and you want to diversify, I would take the money and I'd take that cash if I had it, and I'd just buy one and get that flow going, if that's what you want.
Yeah, it's less stressful that way, right? You know you're going to make your numbers if you don't owe any money on the property.
Yeah, you do your numbers you get your ROI, return on investment really quickly.
Yep.
You can figure that out. You can compare it to other investments that you would use with that same amount of money and go, okay, this is the way to go, either one way or the other.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
there's Jeff.
with you and I,
Hi guys.
we think that, obviously we want to do real estate.
Yeah.
But my money's where my mouth is. Like I said before, I have rentals, and I saw my mother buy and sell real estate from when I was a kid, and I think it's the way to go.
Yeah. I've been spouting this for pretty much the entire time. Not the entire time. Okay, I'm exaggerating. I say it a lot, that renting doesn't make any sense right now. It really doesn't. I mean, unless you're just not able to buy a property, like you have bad credit or something like that, then what you should be doing is figuring out how to buy a property. Because, I mean, the rents are going up. The rents are going up quite a lot here. And, I mean, it doesn't. If you're going to pay that much money, you should be putting it in something that's going to make you money back.
Well, and also you have no control.
Yeah.
I mean, once you own a property, your
You know what
expenses
you're
are
gonna be
fixed.
Yeah, you
in
know
the
what you're
sense
gonna
that
be paying.
you know once you've paid it off, even if you're not paying it off, you know what your monthly payment is if you're on a 30-year fixed.
Yes.
You know what your taxes are. You know what everything is.
Yes.
And
I think.
But if you're renting, there's a couple of things that can happen. The landlord can come along at any time and say, "Hey, I'm putting up 100 a month, or I'm putting up 200 a month." You know, number one, or number two, they can come along and say, "Hey, I've decided to sell the place. You're out of here."
Yeah. I mean, they could do that.
So there's all you don't have any control.
Oh, you want to stay another year? Then we'll add $200 to your rent each month.
Yeah, and then also the fact that, like anywhere, people want to make a house their home, so they want to put up photos and they want to put up artwork and all sorts of things. So they want to paint it, and I've had tenants come to me and say, "Do you mind if we paint? We'll pay for it." I'm like, "Go for it."
Yeah, that's nice.
Once was a good decision, once it wasn't such a good decision.
Maybe
they didn't do a great job of painting, but
but
my point is,
an odd. They watch too much HGTV and they just crazy, like with feathers or something.
Yeah.
Then it's a little much.
But my point is once you own, you have control.
Yes.
When you rent, you have no control, and I mean, there's people that go, "Yeah, but I don't have any hassles either." That's true, but you don't have any control, and that's not a good thing.
I don't know. I rented, so I lost my house back in the day.
Yeah.
I had to rent for a while. I hated it because when something broke, I didn't have to pay for it to get fixed. But I had to call my landlord, and they would kind of fix it.
Right.
Because they don't want to spend more money than they have to.
Yeah.
So, and it was just not my home. It never felt like my home.
Yeah, I understand.
Guy Crawford. It's an eclectic crowd of
Is
which
it?
none of these people.
Are all these people real estate
birds
agents?
Are following.
Are these people? Well, we're on your feed. We're not even on my feed, are we?
You should. Everyone should know you're here. We'll work on it. We'll do some more promos next time.
I haven't got a following.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get one.
It's probably 3 in the morning in Australia. That's why nobody's watching.
Well, you've been. How long have you been here?
I'm just kidding.
Like
I'm just
30
joking.
years. You should know a few people here.
Yeah, 30 odd, 30 more than 30.
Yeah.
So where are we at on time? I thought this would tell us.
It doesn't tell you.
Oh, it doesn't.
It's like a bar. They don't want you to know how long you've been on.
So you just keep drinking.
You just keep talking. Hey, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Any questions?
June Marie.
Yeah, June Marie. Yeah.
That's a nice name.
She has like 4 names.
Christine, Jackson, Brackman. You've got all these people with, longer names, 3 or 4 names. Kind of cool.
Well, because if you're a woman, sometimes you put your maiden name
Ah,
on there
yes.
so people who know who you are. I don't do that because mine is too long. It would be like off the screen.
Kristen Lavenway is fairly long anyway.
It's fairly long, but my maiden name's Van Valkenburg, so forget that. I just have moved. I mean, I love it, but I just don't put it on everything.
It's too long. Got it.
People would just go like, what?
No, they're just watching, but they're not.
Nobody's talking. Hey guys, don't you have any comments? Do you want us to pick you something up from Whole Foods? That's where we are.
We're in Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. So I'm an East Valley girl. You are
North Central.
North Central. So we thought, this is in the middle.
Yeah, and it's worked out really good. It's quite. People are looking at us, wondering what we're doing.
Yeah.
Talking into a phone.
You don't care though.
No, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, I've done this a million times.
You've done more humiliating.
I've got to play a nursing home on Friday, so I'm not worried about anything.
You're doing a nursing home?
Yeah, senior living centre.
Oh,
that's their
fun.
Politically correct name.
Oh, is it? That's what they're called? Senior living centre?
No, that's what he told me. It's the senior living centre. So yeah.
Really? And you're gonna go crack them up?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be a tough crowd because they can't hear you much at 95 or whatever age they are.
True. Yeah, but that's all right. They probably just laugh along with the crowd.
Yeah, they enjoy it. And it's funny, I've heard stories about people getting mad with people and saying you're not laughing, but they didn't realise the person had a stroke.
Oh.
So they weren't capable of laughing.
So they gave him a little grace because he had a stroke.
So then someone told them, well, that person had a stroke, but they're really enjoying it. They whispered to me they liked it. So
right.
I don't, in that situation, I never say anything to anyone. I just do my thing and hope they enjoy it.
I mean, if they don't leave.
They got nowhere to go. They're a captive audience.
Yeah, that's the best
They all live
part.
there. They all live on premises. I did have a lady come up to me one time and told me I was back then before your phone recorded. I had a recorder and I was recording my set and I put it down. The lady came up to me and said I stole it from her friend.
Oh no.
She goes, that's Martha's. She said, I'm going to take it back to her room. I'm like, pretty sure it's not.
Oh gosh.
She goes, well, I'm going to go tell her. And she'll come and get you. She'll come and see you.
Did she come? Did you have to face Martha?
Martha never left the room. No. Poor old Martha. I think she was having a nap and thank heavens. The lady never came back. I think she forgot.
Good. You dodged a bullet, I'd say.
Yeah, could have got pretty dodgy with that 88-year-old woman.
I bet you could have taken it. On a good day. I bet you could.
Gotta give it a run for her money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am not doing comedy this weekend. I need to. I've been doing too much real estate.
Yeah.
It's like cramping my comedy. My
What a problem to have.
fledgling comedy career. Yeah. But it's all right. I'm doing comedy next week. Next week I have a show,
Oh, good.
so that'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, have we done a half an hour, I wonder? Or
Probably. Hey,
we've covered rentals.
we don't know what time. So here's the thing, you guys. We want to do this every week.
Yes.
And sometimes one of us might not be here, but we still want to keep doing it.
Right.
So we're going to try to, do a little remote action maybe. And I don't know, we're just going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
So just let us know what you think. And if you have any comments or suggestions or questions, burning questions about all the topics we talked about, there was a wide range,
There were.
right?
Yes.
So-
I'd like to bring a wide range. Like the
Yeah.
wild world of sports is the wide world of real estate,
Exactly. Real estate is a wild ride.
where you can listen to Kristen or talk to Tim.
Yes. And I do have war stories, except for I have to think carefully, because you gotta be careful about talking about your war stories, especially when the deal is ongoing.
Right,
You're like,
right,
I'll
right,
maybe
of
talk
course.
about that later.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely learned a few things this last couple weeks about, I don't know, stuff.
I don't think you ever stop learning, do you? Things
No.
pop up all the time. You're like,
I have
man,
learned this though.
I never
you catch
expected
more
that.
flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Oh, yeah, my
And
mother always says that.
It's a big time in real estate thing, I think. So I feel like today I scored big time with a big dose of honey, and I'm
Oh,
pretty
good.
excited about that.
Good for you.
I hope my life just got way easier. So yeah, well, we're gonna probably do it Tuesdays,
Yep,
6-ish.
yep.
Maybe not always here. I don't know. We might change it up.
I like this. This is pretty nice.
It's easy to get to.
We're right next to the frozen food
I could
section.
pick up a few things.
Yeah, go get some ice cream
if I had
right now.
If I had that kind of cash.
For Whole Foods.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll get in trouble. They'll kick us out.
Well, Trader Joe's is down the street though, so it's a little more affordable.
Right.
Shh, we didn't say that. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Bye.